Hey there, it's Rachel Mullins, the host of hashtag No Filter Fridays on Public House Media.
Hello, welcome back, Choose to Rise friends. I am so grateful that you are here with me today and that we are back together. I have two things to share with you today. One is all about my trip of solitude. A weekend in solitude is what this podcast is called. And it was the most magical 48 hours. I wish it was longer time. That I really went for some soul searching, some digging in deep, kind of back this train up a little bit. Kim, what the heck are you talking about? A couple weeks ago, I guess maybe even close to a month ago by the time this podcast is launched, I took a tip from my enneagram coach and said, I need a retreat. I need to go think. I need to go get quiet with God. I need to just go be by myself. And I don't know about you, but like every woman out there is always looking for some peace and quiet, some alone time, especially if you're a mom, like those 3 minutes that you lock yourself in the bathroom. It's going to be amazing. But this was different. This was not just like a retreat where I would go and pamper myself, but this was a solo vacation where I went with only my Bible and my journal and myself. I did take my laptop, but the cabin that I went to purposefully had no Wi-Fi, no or very spotty cell service. I didn't get any text messages at all while I was upstairs in the cabin, but there was one spot in the lower level where I would, and which was really freeing and kind of freaky, but really mostly freeing. I was able to just get quiet and hang out. I read a lot of my Bible, and I did a lot of journaling, and I did a lot of just thinking about life and about where God wants me to go and what he wants me to do. And while it was really, really good for my soul to do this, I really kind of wish it was longer, because I really found myself addicted to my phone. I turned off all the notifications. I even deleted my social media apps from my phone before I went. So I'd be completely unplugged, but I kept finding myself reaching for it. And I kept finding myself looking to see if somebody needed me. And it was really eye-opening to me. And I journaled a lot about it, and how and why I was really unable just to kind of shut my brain off and listen to God, which was the whole reason why I went. And so I wanted to share with you a couple of things today about that trip, about the experience. Plain and simple, nuts and bolts was just that I decided to do it. I found a couple dates on my calendar that would work, and I just searched for an Airbnb, little cabin up in Wisconsin. It was just a couple hours from my house. So I listened to a lot of PD on the way there. I got there. I had a few groceries with me. I never had to leave the cabin to go do anything. I could have, but I didn't. And it was just really, really quiet and really peaceful and really just good. So I would encourage anybody and everybody to have some solitude time. Really have a time and space, reserve that time and space for yourself, for your own mental health, for your own soul, for your own heart, to be able to get away and do some solitude things. And I want to share with you, science says that solitude is a really good thing. And while we just take a few minutes, usually kind of maybe I've talked before about meditation, or I've talked about your quiet time with your Bible and your devotion and things like that, that's all great. But when you really find yourself way too busy to even make time for that, it's really time to completely unplug and unfill your schedule and just go be quiet. And I would challenge all of you to go do this in some regard. Get out of your normal environment, go to a hotel if you want, to give yourself some break, go to a quiet cabin like I did, give yourself a place to be in a retreat. It's winter when I did this in February of 2021. So I wasn't necessarily able to get out and about like I would have wanted to get out into nature and to really feel how kind of small I am in the universe, I guess, along with God. But I really just wanted to share with you some like 5 or 6 little science-based reasons for spending some alone time. Even, in case you just don't believe me that this was the most amazing thing to do. So number 1, alone time increases your empathy with others, empathy with yourself. Spending time alone helps you develop more compassion for the people around you, as well as yourself within. And your relationship with yourself is the most important thing that you have. And if you're struggling to find yourself, or you're struggling to know what's really in your own heart and mind, then it's time to go look for it. It's time to start, clearing away the distractions of everything else and go look for it and find it there. Number 2, solitude increases productivity. Although many offices have started creating these kind of open floor plans, so everyone can communicate easily and all the things. Being surrounded by a lot of people kills your productivity. I don't know about you, but just being a mom with your kids at home really is like the best way you can identify that, right? But being surrounded by people kills your productivity. So people perform better when they have some privacy, when they can be just by themselves. And I can tell you that when there was 0 distractions, like no notifications on my phone, no one asking me for anything, no one asking for anything, I was able to just completely unplug and ask myself what it is that I wanted, what it is that I was, would make me happy, or would just be. I did an exercise out of a journal that really helped clarify some things for me, and really just helped me think deeper and into my heart, into my dreams, into my goals. And it was really awesome. And that kind of plays into number 3, is solitude sparks creativity. And there's a lot of reasons why authors and artists go to a cabin out in the woods or a private studio to work. It's because being alone with your thoughts gives your brain a chance to wander. It gives your brain a chance to be creative. It lets you go from one idea to the next without being interrupted. And you get to be more creative and find that flow in your life. So that was really fun too. Did a lot of, I did a course creation while I was there, thought up a lot of things. I didn't have internet, so I couldn't necessarily look up anything to keep the pieces going with that. But when I got home, I was able to continue the process. But I know none of those things that were were there would have come if I wouldn't have been in solitude. Number 4, being alone can help you build mental strength. We are social creatures, and it's important for us to have strong connections with people, but solitude can just be as important. Studies also show that the ability to tolerate alone time has been linked to increased happiness, better life satisfaction, and improved stress management. People who enjoy alone time experience less depression. And when you can I think that really comes down to just really being happy with who you are, and really just having that self-love and that self-satisfaction, that self-respect for yourself, that you take care of, number 1, so that you can go take care of others in your world. And you're happier with life because you know who you are and you know whose you are. And number 6 or 5, solitude may reduce behavior problems in kids. Now, this one is not necessarily about my trip necessarily, but it's a study here. It says the research shows that kids who learn to be by themselves are better behaved than other children. Being a good role model and teaching solitary skills early on is a huge thing that you can do for your kids. I know that we're definitely social creatures, and we want our kids to have good social connections and thoughts and feelings around other people, have positive, healthy relationships. We also want them to be happy and healthy on their own as well, because we can find a lot of society wants us to find our happiness and our joy in other people, or in our accomplishments, or in what we're doing around and what we're being seen for. But if we can find that joy and that happiness within ourselves, and being grateful for who God made us to be as we are, that's a really, really amazing skill. And so the earlier that we can role model and teach those solitary skills to our children, the better. Number 6, being alone gives you an opportunity to plan your life. And that's kind of what I was doing out there, was just kind of like, what are my next steps? Where am I going next? What is new and what is going to be different for us? What is going to stay the same? What do I love? What do I not love? How can I move forward? And most people spend a lot of time planning their weddings and their vacations, but they never really plan out life. And so spending some time alone can really give you a chance to make sure that you have your purpose, and your hustle and bustle and your priorities all are in alignment. And that quiet space can provide an opportunity for you to think about your goals, your progress, your changes you want to make in life, and all the things. And that's what I did a lot of journaling about. I would read in my Bible. I would find a verse that spoke to me, and then I would just journal about what that meant to me, and how that relates to my current life and what that looks like in my future life. And I wrote down a ton of goals, maybe some next action steps. I did some mind mapping around some things from another book that I have here. And I really just started to dig deeper into what I say I want and what I'm doing, and making sure that they're aligning. And then number 7 is just that solitude helps you know yourself. Being alone really helps you become more comfortable in your own skin, because you're the only one around that's going to be able to make decisions and do things and be there. And the only one you're going to be able to influence yourself. When you are by yourself, you make choices without those outside influences. You're not worried about what other people think. You're not worried about how is this going to impact somebody else, because you're the only one there. And that really helps develop more insight into the person you are, and to think about, like, why am I making the decision? Is it for someone else? Is it for me? How can I do this? And so I really want you just to think about how you can be proactive about creating time to be alone in your life. I mean, a lot of us, I don't have to really find time to be alone so much in my house. Like, my kids go to school, my husband goes to work as a teacher. I'm home alone by myself every day, but there are so many distractions. There's so many things that I could be doing for them, or I could be doing for someone else, or just a little bit more work to do. And so it just really needed to get away, and just completely unplug myself and really focus in on these things. And I'm so incredibly glad I did. It was kind of uncomfortable at first, but creating that quiet time for myself was the best thing that I could have done to make sure that I'm becoming the best version of me. And I would highly encourage you to do the same if you're looking to be the best version of you. Getting time to know your heart and know your own soul without the distractions of anybody else, without anyone else telling you what to think or do, without any of that. And it was really nerve-wracking. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what I was going to think. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just know that I was going to this cabin by myself with my Bible and journal. And I was just going to go be. And it was awesome. And I highly encourage you to do the same, as well as I plan on doing it again. I would really like to make this a semi-annual thing, if not an annual thing, to make sure that I just have time and space to go do this. I'm really planning on kind of doing it by myself once a year. And maybe the second time in a year, I would just take my husband, which obviously wouldn't be a solitude thing, but it would definitely be an amazing thing for our relationship, for our marriage, for our own connection, as well as kind of some future goals and planning. What can we do to, just think ahead, and how we, want to course correct, or how we want to do life. And really kind of hit those, how we can hit the goals that we have set for ourselves, for our future and our family and all the things. And so that's a weekend in solitude. And it was amazing. Like I've said 100 times, I feel like right now, but it was so good. And I would highly encourage you to do it. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be at a lavish resort or an exotic location. It just needs to be you, and a quiet location, and a space where you can really have time to think. Now, the only thing that I think I would have done differently is I would have gone longer. And I went from a Wednesday afternoon by the time I got there. And then about Friday morning, I needed to leave the Airbnb. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So really about only 48 hours by the time I got there and by the time I left. So I would extend it. That's the only really thing I would do, and just really make sure I was completely unplugged, and maybe get outside a little bit more. But that's it. That was awesome. It was a weekend in solitude, and I encourage you to do it. I encourage you. There's so many benefits. As much as anything, it's just learning about yourself and learning who you are and whose you are. And it was amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me for that. And I would love to know if you go do those things. The second thing I need to share with you is that the podcast, as is right now, Choose to Rise, is going to continue. But Public House Media, the network that my podcast is hosted on, is ending. And so in a couple weeks, in April, I'll be going to a new platform. But all the same stuff will continue. So I still plan on bringing a show to you every single week, maybe more, we'll see. But I do plan on serving in video format on my Facebook page. And then the audio from that will be turned into the podcast form that you find here every time. I used to do that and it was a lot of fun. I just found it more convenient, I guess, to go to just audio, especially when 2020 hit and all my family was home all the time. And, we didn't dress up or do anything, but it's all good. Video is video and it's fun to go live. It's fun to share. It's fun to meet new people and get connected that way. And the podcast will continue. It'll just be on a different network and a different platform. And so you'll still find it right here. If you are listening to this on any podcast app that you have, it will be there. It just won't be brought to you by Public House Media anymore. So it might sound a little different. I just wanted to fill you in on that. So thanks for joining me today. I'll see you back here again next week and we'll see you then. Have a great one, everyone.